Ladies and gentlemen, a brand new Pokemon game is out, which is kind of crazy. I think this is the this is the fourth Pokemon game to release in 2026 that you can play on the Nintendo Switch 2, and this one is free to play. And there was a little bit of hype, I would say a bit of hype, but a couple more questions to be answered to really get you over the hill where you're like, okay, I'm all in here. And I have played Pokemon Champions, I want to say, for about 4 or 5 hours now. And even though it's a free to play game, I'm not sure if I can even recommend it. So let's go and get right into this video. That's right, we have Pokemon Champions out. And I'll be honest, I didn't really care that much before the game came out. I was like, that seems exciting. It seems like it's going to replace a hole that was there, maybe for Pokemon Stadium or Coliseum or something like that. I'm a lifelong Pokemon fan, right? I have some of the traditional games right here. I have my favorite Pokemon card of all time, which is Ancient Mew right here. And just this morning, 15 packs of Pokemon cards have arrived from Japan, right? I am a diehard Pokemon fan. I consume it in every single which way possible, so a free-to-play game? I should be all in on this. But I'm still not sure, So this is going to be my personal review. And I want to say this, right? Because the discourse online is pretty goofy. If I walk away from this review saying negative stuff and not enjoying it, play the game, enjoy it. I don't care. If I don't like the game and say it's bad, does not mean it's a bad game. That's my personal opinion, man. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would really mean the world to me. Also, follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep these communities growing. Let's just go and get right into this one. So I guess the simplest question to answer is, what is Pokemon Champions? And this is a game where you battle Pokemon with other people online. And this is one of the Pokemon games that will be used for the Pokemon World Championships in 2026, right? Which is nice to have this. I believe it's on Switch and Switch 2, and I think mobile is coming at a later date. So it is nice to have this game that's free to play that everybody has access to and is free to play, right? When you hear a free to play game, you say, okay, free to play could mean free to play, but not free to win. So let's actually talk about how free the game actually is. One of the major things you could spend money on is VP, which stands for victory points, but you can just play the game and get these victory points. And some of the things you can exchange those victory points for are items for your Pokemon to hold, a bunch of cosmetic stuff, which is always like the first thing I do in any game. I try to make my character look a certain way or a certain aesthetic. And I gotta say, I'm starting to get burnt out on the way like the Pokemon trainers look in all the recent Pokemon games. I really just prefer all the styles and aesthetics of everything from like the 3DS and previous. But it is what it is, right? You're not here to like make your character look a certain way. It's not the main point. The gameplay is the main point. Oh yeah, before I forget, there's actually a battle pass as well. Big shocker, right? Battle pass in 2026. And there's also a premium membership too. I will never spend a single dollar on this game though. Now, arguably one of the most important things in a Pokemon game is the Pokemon, right? And a lot of people were thinking that every single Pokemon ever was going to be in this game, which would have been cool and made sense. But that's not the case. If I can find it, I'll put it on the screen right now. I think there's something like a few hundred Pokemon. That's it, or maybe 400, or maybe less than that. But I did see people online complaining about this. So just know all the Pokemon are not in this game. So the way you can get Pokemon though is you can recruit these Pokemon in game, or you can transfer them from Pokemon Home. Another thing I will tell you right now, they gave me 6 starting Pokemon to have when you first start the game, and I have not changed those 6 starting Pokemon yet, and I keep winning battles with them because, I'll talk about at the end of this video how I feel about it, but I don't see myself sinking too much time into this game. Now another thing I have to say is, I downloaded the game last night when it first went live, and I was playing handheld in bed, and I thought the graphics looked horrible. Like the game looked like straight ass, man, the graphics and performance. They're saying 30 frames per second, which is crazy, but the 30 frames per second even looks rough. So then this morning, I was reading online saying that they gave it a Switch 2 update, or the Switch 2 update is already baked into this version. And maybe my Switch 2 updated last night while I was sleeping, but when I was capturing gameplay, I don't know if it was because I was playing docked to the Switch 2 or because of that update, but the graphics did look better, but the game still looks like ass. Now, the gameplay, It's simple, right? You're just battling Pokemon. And simple does not mean bad, but it leaves a lot to be desired. So if you've ever played a Pokemon game and got into a Pokemon battle, yeah, congratulations. You know exactly what the gameplay is here. Now, since you're playing people online, there is a slight delay in between turns, which makes sense, right? It can't be seamless because you're waiting for the other person to pick their moves. This is not bad by itself, but sometimes that person might be doing something else, or on their phone, or trying to change their Pokemon, or decide a move. Sometimes you can sit there for quite a while, and then you start to space out, or you don't even want to play anymore. And that actually happened to me quite a few times, so much that I just turned the game off. Now, if we can go back to the graphics, right? Obviously, the Pokemons, the moves, the animations, all the graphics are reused assets from previous Pokemon games. And that is not a bad thing because this game is free to play. I'm not expecting them to build a new Pokemon game from the ground up and making it free to play, even though that's kind of what they did with Pokemon Unite. But it is what it is, you know, and I don't think like the Pokemon look bad by themselves, and some of the moves look actually pretty cool. But since you're using so much old previous assets and you're not redesigning a game from the ground up, and there's really not a lot going on in the game, I would expect some extra bells and whistles here and there. It really would have been cool to say, oh wow, they reworked this design of this Pokemon, or they added some extra moves in here, or they just did some stuff to surprise you. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. Now, when you think about Pokemon, and the reason why we all love the games, at least I do, is because you have an adventure to go on, right? It's so fun going to each new town and each new location, finding new Pokemon, fighting trainers, getting badges, just going on a really fun adventure. But in games like this, there's no adventure to go on. Okay, well, in Pokemon Stadium, and I believe Coliseum, it's been so long since I played it, there's no real adventure you're going on, but there's other stuff to do. There's mini games, and there's just stuff to get lost in. But in Pokemon Champions, there's no adventure from the traditional games. There's no mini games and extra stuff in Pokemon Stadium. It's only battling. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's bad in itself, because this is a competitive game, but still, what else am I supposed to do here? And yeah, there's just not a lot to do there. Now, another thing you can do is use like these little tickets or something to train your Pokemon and give them new moves. And you can also like level them up or level up their defense and attack and stuff like that, but I have not figured out how to do that yet. I kept trying it. But I'm just trying to like think in my head all the stuff you can do. You can battle, you can recruit Pokemon, you can kind of train your Pokemon, but there's not even animations for training your Pokemon as well. It's just like pressing buttons. And you can buy stuff with your victory points or spend money on more victory points and get stuff that way, but there's not really anything to do here. It's literally a menu with like 4 options and battling online. So if that's exactly what you're looking for, well, you're good to go. And I don't see myself playing it really that much more. Maybe an hour here or there if I can't find anything else to play. But honestly, I would just rather go play an older Pokemon game. Now, if you're into the competitive scene, you're probably all in on this, and that's awesome. But as a Pokemon fan, it just leaves me wanting more. So, you know, it is what it is, right? It's a free-to-play game. But being free to play does not mean it has to be boring or bad. Look at games like Fortnite and Asphalt Legends and Warframe and Apex Legends, and I'm trying to think of all these other free-to-play games on the Switch and Switch 2. There's games out there that have a lot to do in them and keep you invested. Pokemon Champions does not do that for me. So honestly, my score for this game, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. If you like Pokemon, do you play the games? Are you playing this? Is it good? Is it bad? Just start a conversation. And if you made it all the way to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep the communities growing. And I think the day this video comes out, our weekly streams will start in the evening. So come and hang out for stream. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.